are back. Yes, Unleashed is back. Weather, all kinds of crap have been keeping us off the air, but we are back now. Not even a full 24 hours after the Super Bowl, Ray. Oh, and by the way, I'm Mitch Williams. This is Unleashed. My partner, Ray Scipione. What'd you think of the big game, Ray?
Well, Mitch, you unbelievable. You called it, and you may have been the only person. I mean, deep down inside, I was hoping Brady won. Kansas City cost me $54,000 last year for scoring that last touchdown, so I kind of wanted them to lose. But then I felt bad for Big Red. I thought it was a good game. I don't know what everyone's complaining about. I mean,
they didn't get the. I'll be honest. I watched first half.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw Brady find Gronkowski for that first touchdown,
yes,
I knew it wasn't going to be the last time he found him.
He found it twice.
Brady is a guy at 43 years old, and I'll be honest with you, he does some stuff I can't stand.
Right.
Because when you're the best that ever lived at the position you're playing,
right,
there's a responsibility that comes along with that. And that's carrying yourself, win or lose, like a champion.
Right.
And he didn't shake Nick Foles' hand after
that still bothers me.
Foles beat him in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
He didn't shake Nick Foles' hand again. When was that? It was recently. Whose hand didn't he shake recently?
When the Bears beat Brady.
Yeah, Foles. It was Foles.
I mean, Foles.
He did it to him again.
Yeah, exactly. For Chicago, he did it again.
I knew it was
on a Monday
recently.
night game. Yeah.
But that, to me, is the only thing that's ever going to tarnish anything this guy does, because what he does is amazing. Honestly, looking at pictures of him before the game coming on the field,
right,
and then looking back when they were showing him playing with New England,
right,
he doesn't look a day older.
He doesn't. I mean, he goes to bed 8 o'clock. I heard his schedule today, what he does. He's got everything's timed. He reads to the kids from 7:30 to 8, goes to bed at 8. His diet is, I think he feeds on grass at
He's
this
not,
point.
as far as I know, he's
plant-based.
never lifted a weight.
No, I mean, he's plyometrics and all that stuff, and he does work to get his body back from like 1 hour during the day. But he does, and he burns incense. He's into a bunch of stuff.
The defensive coordinator Spagnuolo,
yes,
had beat him twice, and
well,
it didn't look like there was any way he was letting that happen again.
I'll tell you what, Todd Bowles, people are saying should have been the MVP of that Super Bowl. So we got so much to get into. We got the Super Bowl because we missed. It was snow last week. We got the Super Bowl. We got the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are burning up the airways as we speak.
Oh, it's coming down today, people.
Oh, it's coming, Jerry. And we got your Phillies. Boy, they're the only thing that
Middleton refuses to tell the truth. Even when he lies, and it's a good thing. Like, he's not going to spend any money. He goes out and gets Dave Dombrowski. He saved money at the GM position by hiring Sam Fold because Sam's never done it. But then goes out, signs JT, which shocked me.
Shocked you.
And beyond shocked, he re-signs Dede to a 2-year deal.
Well, we got all that coming up, and we again, you called it $115 million right on the button. You said it would get the deal done, which is $100,000 a year over what Maurer got. But I'm getting ahead of myself, but we'll get into that. But they proved us wrong with the signing. We didn't think they were going to sign one of those two. They end up bringing them both back.
But the reason we didn't think,
because he said he wasn't going to spend nothing.
He wasn't going to spend any money,
right.
And they fired 80 employees.
Correct.
That does not scream we're going to go out and take on more salary.
As Tony Montana said in Scarface, I tell the truth even when I lie. So that's Middleton. So we got your Kansas City Chiefs, who are favored by 3. Boy, they look bad. Tampa Bay wins a Super Bowl. What number was it? 55.
55.
31-9. Tom Brady's your MVP. We're going to get into that. It's only 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's his 5th MVP award.
11th
watching
Super Bowl.
10th Super Bowl.
I thought it was his 11th.
It was 10th with 7 wins. He's 7 for 10.
Oh, that sucks.
Absolutely. So Mahomes just got I mean, if you looked at his stats, he's 26 for 49 for 270, but 2 INTs. He was quoted as saying, quote, "That was the worst beating I ever took." I mean, and they were, if you saw at the end, he got sandwiched on a sack that I thought was going to get called. I mean, he got
I'll tell you
beat up.
That little linebacker.
What was it? 50?
45.
Oh, 45?
That is, God, what's
Matthew. No, that's the other guy.
Yeah, he's a linebacker for the Buccaneers, and you talk about fly around. Bruce Bowles has them guys flying.
Devin White.
Devin White. That's the badass linebacker that Tampa's got. He's only about 5'10".
So surprising, Tyreek Hill, he had 1 carry for 5 yards, 7 for 73 receiving, but he was a non-factor. Kelsey had a lot of yards, 133. He was really a non-factor. I'm going to tell you, and I don't even know if you realize this, Fournette.
Yes.
16 for 89 for a touchdown, and 4 for 46 in the air. So now we're going to have a question later about this. So Fournette goes 135 yards total offense and a touchdown, and doesn't even get looked at for MVP. I mean, you knew that was going to Tom. This was Tom's story in his hometown.
If they won.
And that was it. This was to put guys like me that would say, well, he lost 3 out of 9 and da-da-da-da. This is 7 for 10, 5 MVPs. Can you even fathom anyone else sniffing that?
No. There will never, and I will never live long enough to see it, obviously, there will never be another quarterback go to 10 Super Bowls. For the simple fact, the economics, players are going to make Patrick Mahomes signed a $500 million contract.
And they alluded to the fact that he could do it. They kept saying that here's a guy at his age with that team that could probably be the closest guy to get back 8 times.
But the thing is, and this is where Belichick –
8 times.
This is where Belichick is going to be put up against Andy Reid in this situation. Andy Reid has been a hell of a coach.
Of course. His winning records.
No two ways about it. The only guy to ever host 3 AFC championship games and 3 NFC championship games as a head coach.
But, Mitch, 1 Super Bowl.
1 Super Bowl. And you want to know why? And I'm going to tell you where Belichick comes in. I don't believe there is a man alive that knows what his team needs more than Belichick knows what his team needs at the end of every year. So this last year they lost.
Right.
Trust me, they're going to find there's going to be different pieces in place up in New England this next year.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait to see who's playing quarterback for him.
So Arians, a Temple guy, you told me.
Yes.
I didn't realize that. And the first 4th down he went to and failed, and I said, oh, boy. And then you gave me a quote from Arians.
Yeah.
Arians, no risk it.
No biscuit. And I love that kind of thing.
You're right.
You have to put trust in your players. You have to take risks at times because there's no reward if there's no risk.
So, again, Todd Bowles.
I called him Bruce Bowles. Todd
Bowles, defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay. They just kicked ass.
And he couldn't interview until after the Super Bowl. Am I correct for a head coach?
Oh, yeah, you can't interview till after.
So the Eagles couldn't wait long enough to interview a guy of this caliber that –
well, probably is going to get big money, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So how about this, Mitch? The winning share, I was just curious. Winners got $130,000, so they could go get a nice Mercedes after that, nice S-Class.
That's all they get?
$130. That's all, just to win the game. How about guys that are only making $500, the minimum wage. They get $130.
How about this? The World Series share now is over $500,000 a man.
Wow. Oh, my God. How about the losers, Mitch? You wouldn't even get out of bed for this. $65,000. You can't even buy a.
I'll tell you what we got in '93.
I was going to ask you. That was go ahead.
$90,000 for losing.
Bull, come on. Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Well, baseball.
Yeah,
okay.
for losing.
90,000, and that's in '93, Mitch.
Yeah, I would have much rather taken that. I'm not sure what the.
Had to be 200,000 or better.
Well, yeah, I would have liked to have been on the other side of it. I'll put it that way, for many reasons, but money being the least of them.
But you're a guy. Does that really bother you? Like that you didn't win a World Series? Like wasn't the
hell yeah, it bothers me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my career, I only got to one, and I'm the reason we didn't win it. So yeah, I wanted to go to more than one.
You can't say that.
Yes, I can say that.
You're the reason. Hey, look, like Bo has said, without you, they don't get there. So
that's an old song and dance, and that's all well and good. But when it came time to get the job done, I didn't get the job done. So
yeah, and 30 other guys didn't too. They could have scored more runs. They could have made less errors. You know the story.
Yeah, but that's just I was one holding
you're a
the
man
ball.
for. I'll tell you what, you're a man for taking that.
It's not a man that takes
shoulders.
it. It's a guy that looks at the situation and decides not to make up a lie about it.
Well,
Inky,
was one pitch.
if Incaviglia was playing higher,
yeah,
we wouldn't be having this conversation. He was playing too low and left.
Yeah. What else do we got for the Super Bowl? So my thing is 201 yards, 3 TDs. Should he have been the MVP?
Yes.
Really?
He managed that game.
I'll tell you what I didn't realize. So, by the way, your boy Gronkowski, 6 for 67, 2 touchdowns. Looking like he just was having a blast out there.
He knew exactly what he was doing before this season started. He was doing all the analyst stuff last year and being goofy and having fun. That's his personality. But the minute Tom left New England, Gronk couldn't wait to get there. Because the only reason Gronk retired was because of Belichick. He was tired of it up there.
Yeah.
So he gets to go down, comes back, and wins another Super Bowl.
So Brady, Antonio Brown had a touchdown. Here's a guy who didn't even dress the week before, and he got a huge bonus for scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Antonio Brown,
yes,
if he doesn't lose his mind,
yes,
in the next 6 or 7 months, because he did just win another Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So we all know he has a tendency to get stupid.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't lose his mind and Brady can keep his thumb on him, and trust me, Brady will try to keep his thumb on him because he knows what kind of talent he is. What a combo. Mike Evans.
Cool.
Him.
He had a nice game.
Godwin. Mm-hmm. My God, he's got some serious weapons. They could be right back there again next year.
And that's why he said when they were questioning Brady after with his 3 kids, "Oh, I'm coming back." I mean, he clearly said it as he was holding the trophy.
Well, he said he wants
he's coming back
till he's 45. He wants to prove that it can be done.
That's unbelievable. So the one thing I wanted to tell you, and I didn't realize at 43, because they showed a couple end zone shots. I mean, Brady's got a rifle. I mean, I don't know if it was just because he was pumped up for the Super Bowl, but there was 2. Matter of fact, the 2 to Gronkowski that were zipped.
I went and watched him in person last year at the Link, and he couldn't throw the ball 50 yards.
Right.
I'm looking at that, and I know who his quarterback coach is Tom House, and I'm looking at his mechanics and thinking, mechanically, he can be fixed to where he can still – it's arm strength. It's not arm speed.
Right.
You can still maintain arm strength for a long time into your 40s. I can attest to that. I don't have arm speed anymore. I still have arm strength. I can still throw a football 50 yards. But Brady, on the throws that he really had to put some hair on it, his feet, his shoulders – everything were in perfect position to deliver the football as hard as he needed to throw it.
Beautiful. And we're right on schedule. So there's another little football team. I forget what they're
locally.
called.
I think they're
called?
Eagles?
Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles or something.
The Steagles. Remember when they were with the Steelers? Out of Philadelphia, people, and I was shocked, I have to say, because I called it wrong. I really thought they brought this guy in for Wentz. But like you said, the quarterback coach has
As soon as I heard that they hired the quarterback coach, and he's known Jalen Hurts since he was 4 years old, tried to recruit him to play quarterback at Mississippi State.
Yes.
He chose Alabama. I can't understand why. But I just listened to John Ritchie
you called in
on WIP, and I actually called in because I felt it was what John was saying was totally off.
Well,
as far as the reasoning goes for why the Eagles would want to bring Nick Foles back here.
Right, and we're going to get into that too. That was another bomb. So as if it wasn't crazy enough that you said, I thought you were crazy, when you said to trade Wentz to the Bears and there's a way to bring Foles back, I said, this guy's crazy. Well, now, God, Mitch. So let's we're getting way ahead of ourselves. That's how crazy sports in Philadelphia is right now. So Wentz had last year, as we all know, but it's proven now statistically, it was one of the 10 worst seasons in history by a quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a guy that won't talk to anyone, that was so destroyed that he actually sat the bench.
Got benched.
I mean, are you kidding me?
And then to come out and make the comment that I have no interest in being a backup quarterback.
No. You got a Super Bowl MVP that's going to be the backup. But so here's the latest rumors that we got as of right now. So the Colts are hot on Wentz. Don't knock them. They did refuse. They're unwilling to pay what the Eagles' first request was, which was 2 first-rounders. So, however, the Colts are still involved. The Bears, as you just mentioned, are hot for Wentz. And by the way, the Colts definitely, it's been stated that they definitely feel that they could fix Wentz.
Right.
Okay? So now you got the Bears, who seem to be the front runner because they've been talked about all weekend. They're offering a first-rounder, Tariq Cohen, and yours truly, your buddy, your friend and mine, Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles.
And John Ritchie is,
furious. And there's some Eagles fans that are furious.
Yeah, and I don't understand it.
Well,
there is zero chance Nick Foles is coming back here to compete for a starting job.
I know, Mitch, and I don't think it's that. It's the fact that the first time he throws an incompletion, the fans are going to start. I'm telling you, it's not even going to be the first bad game. The Eagles fans are so crazy that they'll be chirping the first interception this kid throws, the first loss, the first of everything. They're going to be screaming for Foles. Now, Foles has failed more than he has succeeded.
There's no question as a starting quarterback,
Correct.
Nick Foles has failed more than he succeeded. But there are – and I called in to say this specifically. There is something in that Eagles locker room that needs to change more than anything, and that is the culture.
Sure.
So why wouldn't you go out if you have an opportunity – to bring back a guy that, A, at least 50% of your fan base is going to love the fact that he's back.
Right.
B, he does not mind being a backup quarterback.
I agree.
He is going to be a guy where Carson Wentz would not help Jalen Hurts in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Nick Foles is going to be in his ear helping him all he can because Nick understands this game. He understands. Why is he a good backup? Because he always stays ready.
Very level-headed.
I swear to God, when you look back, I remember telling my youngest son this before the Super Bowl started. I said, you want to know why I think the Eagles are going to win this game? And he said, why? And it happened to be during pregame warm-ups and they were showing pictures of Nick Foles.
Right.
I said, that's a backup quarterback right there, Dick, fixing to start the Super Bowl. He looks like he's sitting at home on the couch relaxing.
Right.
That right there told me that was why I thought the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl.
Well, he's relaxed, not to a fault, but the people that want Foles to come back feel that calmness, and you stated it earlier, is something that the clubhouse needs. That
unity.
Correct.
And John Ritchie's point was it's going to be a disaster because you're going to have camps. You're going to have.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. The camps
in the club, in the locker room. Nick Foles won't allow that to happen. That's the kind of guy he is. When the rest of these people, players, Jason Kelsey, the guys that Lane Johnson, the guys that played with him in that Super Bowl, see how Nick Foles treats Jalen Hurts, that's how they are going to take their cue from Foles.
Okay. So you don't think that all this love is going to translate to wanting Foles to play if Hurts starts off 0-2, 0-3?
If he starts off 0-2, 0-3, that might be a signal that maybe he is not grasping whatever the system is that the new coaching staff has put in place.
He's got every reason, because here's the two camps. I'll play devil's advocate. So his rating was just as bad as Wentz's was last year. This is me talking. You got a guy that, okay, he won a national championship at Alabama, but lost his job in college.
And
now it was the number one pick, right?
And came off the bench.
Yes, I agree.
In the championship game against Georgia.
Stayed in school, number one.
Yeah, and got they were getting the linebacker shit beat out of them in that game against Georgia.
Right.
And Tua gets hurt. Hurts comes off the bench, brings him back, and beats him. So he's used to competition. He's not afraid of it.
Correct. Guy's a winner. He didn't go to a Division II school. Christ, he went to 2 Power 5 schools. Mitch,
do I think Jalen Hurts is 100% ready? No, I don't.
No, he doesn't even have a training camp.
No, he doesn't have a training camp under his belt. But think about him going to a training camp with a guy like Foles compared to going to a training camp with a guy like Wentz. I had an opinion of Wentz.
Yeah.
Going clear back to when he was drafted. What he does in the community, the way he acted, everything he says in public came across right. And then little things started coming out. The Josina what's-her-name article where Jeffrey ripped him.
Alshon, yeah.
Alshon. It turns out Alshon was just ahead of the curve.
He was right.
He was simply
spot on.
He was stating the truth because I could see it plain as day last year. That offense did not want to play for Wentz.
So what do you do, Mitch, if he goes to the Colts? Because, listen, this Browns deal is not done. The Colts aren't out of this. I'm sure if Wentz had his pick, he would go to the Colts, probably just to spite the Eagles. But what do you do now if he goes to the Colts? You have two first-round picks, 6 and I think 21. I think the Bears, I believe, is 21. It couldn't be the Colts. But so what do you do if he goes to the Colts now? Now you have Hurts, and that's it. Now, do you bring a guy like Cam Newton or?
I would not bring in. I would definitely bring in an older guy. Cam Newton to me is not somebody that can teach.
No, and Belichick couldn't even control him.
You have to bring in a guy that is a communicator. He's a little bit older. That's why I look at Foles and I go, my God, if they can make this trade. Foles is coming back to a city that loves him. He loves to be here. His wife loves to be here. He's not going to cause a whole bunch of shit in the locker room.
You're getting him for $4 million.
$4 million.
$4 million.
So I don't know how you go in. You would get a first-round pick on top of that. So you'd have 2 first-round picks, probably the best backup quarterback in the league.
So we know now that the team is done with Wentz. They're ready to go on with Hurts or whoever at this point. But a couple things that I want to bring up in case for some reason. Mitch, is there any way this guy stays?
Wentz?
Yeah.
No.
He made the – first of all –
he can't stay now.
Right, he can't stay now, right?
There has been too long of a silence period.
But all this shit going on in the paper, how can – I mean,
that's the thing.
It's the talk of this NFL.
Everybody – and I'm going to go back to my situation because, yes, I lost the World Series on the biggest stage imaginable. But I never stopped talking to the media. I never stopped doing interviews. I never stopped coming to Philadelphia. I actually moved back here. This period of silence after just getting benched for 4 games has told these Philadelphia fans exactly what Carson Wentz is. He is a me, I guy. And that don't play here.
What do you think would have happened if he would have just came out and said, look, I don't want to go anywhere, even if it was a lie. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to fight for the job. You could bring 10 quarterbacks in. This is what Philly likes. He goes out and says, I'll compete against 10 quarterbacks. I sucked last year, but I'm going to go out this winter and get better, okay? I don't care who you bring in, and I don't want to be traded.
If he'd have said that, they could do polls on WIP,
right,
and he would win 80%.
I agree.
Of the public opinion. Had he come out and taken ownership of the shit he put on the field this year. He didn't. And you cannot do that in Philadelphia. You can do that in San Diego and L.A.
They don't care.
No, because it's a social event.
Correct.
Here it's a way of life.
Oh, yeah.
And these people here, they listen to what you say. They watch
and what
how
you don't say.
Act and what you don't say.
And we know through people on the inside that look at his offensive line. I mean,
there was not one offensive lineman looking at him in the huddle.
Correct.
And that is shameful.
He made them look bad for taking all those sacks.
I actually heard a rumor, and I think it was from one of the younger, I don't know if it was Herbig. I can't assign this to anybody because I don't know for sure, and I didn't hear it firsthand.
Right.
But I heard that even one of the younger backup linemen went to a veteran lineman and said, this guy is making us look bad.
Oh, yeah.
He's been sacked 50 times, but those 50 sacks are not all on that line. Because Jalen Hurts played behind the same line. Am I wrong?
Correct.
And he got sacked twice in 4 games. That's not a coincidence, people. It's not the line opening up and yelling, look out at Wentz.
So 2 observations. The average sports fan may not know about the fact that it wasn't the O-line's fault. On some of them it was.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
But, the average fan goes, our O-line sucks. He's gotten sacked 8 times in, every game. So I could see where the O-line goes home and says, man, this
they're watching it on
us.
tape. They have to watch it on tape every week, and they have a clock in their head when they're sitting there watching tape. And when it gets to 4 seconds and he's still standing there with the ball in his hand, they know it's not their fault.
So last thing we'll bring up, because we've got to take a commercial, we're right at about 30 minutes, is he's done. There's no possible way of him coming back. Are we looking at what are we looking at as far as I believe this, real quick. I believe this about Jalen Hurts. I didn't think he played that bad in those 4 games.
That bad? I thought the offense, as bad as it was, at least looked like it could gain some yardage when he was in there.
He beat the Saints.
Yes.
Who was the number 1 team in the conference. That killed the Saints by losing to the Eagles. But I didn't think he looked that bad. But what I was saying prior, are we looking at another bad season like this year? If you have Hurts, let's just say.
It won't be as bad as it was this year if Hurts is starting.
Okay, and what do they do with the two the two first-round picks? Because they're going to get two from both teams.
If I'm Howie, one of those first-round picks has got to be an offensive lineman.
All right, so no quarterback. They're talking about quarterbacks.
Well, you could take a quarterback with the other one. I mean, I've heard Mac Jones from Alabama.
Yeah.
That's a guy that may be worth looking at. The receiver from Alabama.
Who I love. You don't like because he's tiny. Tiny legs.
I just worry about him being able to stand up and
right.
uphold in the NFL. I mean, because the guy looks like they list him at 170. If he's 155, I'll be shocked. But he's athletic as hell. He's going to go in the first round, so my opinion don't mean nothing. I just hope the Eagles don't take him. I would much rather have a guy like DK Metcalf that Howie didn't like because he's just way too good, or Jefferson. Yeah, that guy in Minnesota that had 11 or 1,200 yards. We don't want those guys.
No.
I don't want Howie making any decisions when it comes to the draft room. Handle the cap. Let people that know what they're looking at and how to evaluate talent make your draft picks, because you are not doing a good job of it.
Well, on that note, we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a ton to talk about the Phillies, and then we got the 9 for 99 that's going to talk about everything in Philly. So,
all righty, we're going to head to break. Before we do this break, this show is brought to you by Raymond Transportation Corporation. For any of your freight shipping needs, LTL, truckload, rail, even same-day expedited, call my partners at RTC at 1-800-206-3983. Stay with us. We'll be back. Ready. I guess, yeah, we're ready.
Oh, we're ready, baby.
We're back, baby. This has been a full day. It's going to be for the next I'm saying it happens today, Ray. I honestly think Wentz will be out of here today. I think
absolutely
the Eagles want this deal done so they can start their plan forward, moving ahead. And I'm going to keep harping on this because I think he is that good at what he does. Bringing Foles back, if they have the opportunity to make that trade and get Tyreek Cohen, if Tyreek Cohen is healthy.
Again, okay, so real quick, before we get to the Phillies. So Tyreek Cohen in 4 years has a total of 1,101 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then he's coming off ACL surgery. So he's the throw-in guy for the Bears. I don't know anything about the Colts deal.
I don't either. I haven't heard anything, any names mentioned
I know
other than draft picks.
They're still hot for him. But I think because of the Foles factor that Philly's probably leaning towards Chicago. I mean, that's all anyone's talking about in the whole country, reporting-wise, up to the last couple minutes.
How many quarterbacks, good backup quarterbacks, are you going to be able to go out and sign for $4 million?
I mean, you're looking at that kid from Tampa Bay that didn't pan out. You're looking at hey, listen,
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. You got Cam Newton. I mean, you got to listen. Remember last year after 3 games when he was 3-0, they were looking long term with Newton, and then he fizzled out. He was going to be the Patriots. I know. I read a story on it. He was there next. You know, they found him, and he's doing great. And la la la.
As soon as he went back to the Superman,
the bullshit and pink suits and yellow hats
and that hair,
look like a pimp.
How do you? I just don't understand why guys that are in the positions they're in want to attract more attention to themselves.
I don't know.
And Cam Newton's hair, I'm sorry, that's not a hairdo. That is a hair don't.
Boy, Bednarik and these guys must be turning in their graves.
I honestly wish that some of these guys like Cam Newton, Antonio Brown, go back to being what you were in high school.
Correct.
Just be the guy that got you to there. Don't try and garner all the attention on yourself because it's not all about you.
Well, speaking about crazy and ridiculous, we go right to our Philadelphia Phillies. So they proved us wrong just when you thought you were going to be looking at a minor league team. They signed Real Muto, the arguably the number 1 catcher in baseball. 5 years, $115.5 million, Mitch, which equates to $23.1 million a year, which is $100,000 more than Mauer from the Twins.
And Joe Mauer got that contract.
Great hitter,
God bless him.
Lefty.
He's won 3 batting titles, but Joe Mauer averaged 75 RBIs and 12 home runs a year.
And I'll take Real Muto's arm.
Yeah, he got paid because he was a hometown kid.
Correct.
He grew up in St. Paul. I talked to an NFL scout that told me, this is straight out of his mouth, I can't even remember the name of the scout, told me flat out he had been scouting for over 50 years for the NFL. He had seen 2 quarterbacks that could walk from the high school gridiron onto the NFL gridiron, and Joe Mauer was one of them.
Wow.
If that tells you what kind of athlete he was.
So he becomes the highest paid catcher. Highest paid catcher, baseball history. So just when you thought they were done with that, we were happy with that, they signed D.D. Gregorius, 2 years, $28 million. So now you got both guys, obviously Remuto for 5, but you got them tied up, so we don't have to go through this next year. The Reds were interested in D.D. Talks about a reunion with the Yankees fizzled. But what I'm glad is when it looked like we weren't getting him, Mitch, they were talking about bringing Freddie Galvis back, another guy that went and had some success after he left Philly. I'm not for rehashing these guys, except for Foles. But, I mean, Galvis.
And I just can't I'm so stuck on this Foles deal because people always think I'm a huge Foles guy, and I am. But remember, he's coming back to be a backup.
Yes.
Okay, I'm done with that. I can move on to this Philly stuff.
So, question. Well, first off, because we said everything that the Phillies did to Real Muto, he probably wouldn't be back. He said the fans had a lot to do with it. All the cheering for him and all the fan mail and everything, wanting him back. But my question to you is it important? Like, did he have to be the highest paid catcher? Couldn't he have gotten $22.5 million? Like, did it have to be? You see what I'm saying? Does that ease the bullshit that the Phillies put him through?
Yes.
Okay.
It does.
So
for 2 years, they made him go to arbitration and fight in a courtroom for his salary.
So, and now it says, look, we stepped up, made you the highest paid catcher. You can't bitch. You can't do anything. You're the highest paid catcher.
Yeah. They did what they should have done a year earlier.
Right.
And that is bring JT back. They knew he was the best catcher in the game going into last year. Last year was messed up. There's no two ways about it. 60-game schedule, you're not going to even be able to truly evaluate a lot of players in a 60-game schedule. You do most of your evaluation at the beginning of the year and the end of the year because you want to see how guys hold up over a 162-game schedule. But now you look at Didi played all 60 games last year.
Right.
They got him back for the exact same money they paid him last year. They paid him $14 million for 1 year. So they got him back for the exact same money. They signed JT. They got Didi back.
Yeah.
Where do you have to be strongest on a baseball diamond?
Up the middle.
Up the middle.
Catcher,
we have one
center,
thing
shortstop.
to find.
What's that?
We have to find an everyday center fielder. And I know they're going to keep running Kingery out there. And I'm not sure, is Segura signed through this year?
Yeah, because they were talking about.
Now you're talking about a lineup.
Yeah.
This lineup is the real deal. If you got Segura at second base, Didi at short, the new big kid at third that I absolutely love.
Bohm.
Yeah, Alec Bohm. That's your third baseman for the next 10 or 15 years. Just the potential I see in his swing.
Yeah.
Talk about
hits
going
the other way.
He's hitting the ball the other way. Now those balls that he's driving to right center, as he gets a little bit more beef on him, those balls are going to be home runs. And he starts hitting home runs to every part of the ballpark. Now you start talking about a guy like Miguel Cabrera. And I honestly, if I went down that Phillies lineup last year, and this might surprise some people, the guy that I thought would be toughest to pitch to would be Bohm.
Oh, gotcha.
Because he is so disciplined at the plate. He knows what his strengths are. He knows what his weaknesses are. And he does the one thing I friggin' hate about good hitters. He takes what you give them. And I always needed a guy to be going after something. This guy takes what you give him as a pitcher. This lineup, if they can put a pitching staff together,
which we're going to get into,
that can hold teams to below 6 runs, I would love to see, write it down today, and then check it at the end of the year, the number of times this lineup will score 6 runs and the pitching staff will make it hold up.
6 or more.
6 or more runs. This team will win a lot of games.
So let me ask you this. Do you got to worry about sophomore jinx with this guy? Do you got to worry about look what Pete Alonso did with the Mets after hitting 55 home runs or whatever he did his first year?
Yeah, I mean, but Alonso, that's a different kind of cat.
Right, he was just
That's a guy
jack.
that's up there swing hard in case I hit it.
Right. This guy goes with what he's got,
what
he's given.
He has a plan, and that's what I mean. If I'm looking at the Phillies lineup, the guy that would have concerned me the most, especially in a situation where there's a runner in scoring position, hands down would have been Bohm. The other guys I can look at and go, okay, there's a way I can – if I get ahead of them, I can put them away because I know I can get them to chase. And that's the one thing that I'll say about Bohm that he's going to have to be careful with, because a few times last year he did go up and chase balls up in the zone, because when a fastball is coming at 95 miles an hour or plus, you know this, you've been there.
Yeah.
A hitter can recognize in, they can recognize away. So it's really hard to get a swing and a miss on a fastball up and away because they recognize.
Right.
But if you're throwing 95 to 98 and that ball appears in the middle of the plate, whether or not it's up or down doesn't really matter. If it's in the middle, they've got to get started in order to catch up.
Right.
So anybody that says you pitch down, yeah, you pitch down, but pitching down is pitching to contact because you can throw it 150. If it's down, it's hittable.
Correct.
Anything up is unhittable. And if Bohm can get himself to the point where he lays off the fastball up middle, God, I would love to have this kid's future.
That's how they got Trout out, in the early years.
That's all it was.
And he credit to him, of course, as we all know, he's been an MVP, Christ, 2-3 times. He stopped going after the high pitch.
It has a lot, and it's funny. They talk about addition by subtraction. As a hitter, you're adding by subtracting, chasing that pitch. You're giving yourself more opportunities to see more pitches. And anybody that honest to God, I'm going to say this. I threw 2 pitches in my career that hitters swung at and missed that the catcher jumped to catch.
Really?
Corey Schneider, and God, I can't remember the other.
Was it Corey Schneider with the Indians?
Yeah, and Matt Williams. And
Matt Williams was San Francisco.
Yeah, well, he was with Frisco at the time still. Still one of the best third basemen I ever saw.
Oh, yeah.
But Matty would chase. And the catchers both literally jumped, but they were both fastballs up middle. You go around, and I've said this forever. If you were to watch every out recorded during the course of a season,
right,
95% of those outs will be recorded on balls, not on strikes.
Well, Christ, the catchers used to stand up in the old days.
Yeah. If you were to literally do a scientific study and go back over every out recorded in a season, 95% of them will be recorded on balls thrown. They won't be strikes. Strikes get hit.
So, getting back to your Philadelphia Phillies, just when you thought they were done, Mitch, oh, no. They signed every guy that throws over 95.
And some guys that used to.
Some guys that used to.
I mean, they went and got
That
Matt
was for
Moore.
the bullpen. So, wait, we're going to get – so now we're stockpiling on the starting pitching. So, they signed 2 guys, Matt Moore, who's a lefty, for 1 year, $3 million, and they signed Chase Anderson 1 year, $4 million. So let's go to Moore first. Interesting guy.
He was supposed to be a world beater when he came up with Tampa.
Once considered the 3rd best prospect behind Trout and Harper. Okay, he went 17-4 for the Rays in 2013. Suffered injury, had Tommy John surgery in 2014. His career stats were 29-17 with a 3.53, and his fastball was,
He was one of those guys on that gun that they use today. Was at 97, 98, and it was free and easy. The only thing I'll say about him, right?
Yes.
You got to be hard to a certain extent to play here in Philly.
Yes.
I don't know if Matt Moore is mentally built to pitch in this city.
So he
and physically, I haven't seen him. You said he was in Japan, right?
I was just going to say we picked him up from Japan, Mitch.
Do we have to give him anything?
Yeah, ramen noodles. So he was 6-3 with a 2.65 in Japan. I don't know if that's saying anything.
I would just love to know where his velocity is.
That I don't know. Now, Chase Anderson, I'm going to tell you about. We signed him for 1 year, $4 million. He was 1-2 with a 7.22 ERA, 10 appearances, 7 starts last year with the Blue Jays. Now, both of these guys are said to they're going to compete for the last 2 pitching spots. So right now, Mitch, we got Nola, number 1, Wheeler 2, Eflin 3, Howard at 4, and Velo Velasquez at 5. So these two guys were brought in to compete with Howard at 4, who you're going to talk about his injured arm, and Velasquez, who's as hot as cold as you could get.
I'm going to teach you how to say Velasquez.
Or Velasquez, yeah, Velasquez.
I love working with super Caucasian
Velo,
guys that
Velo.
can't pronounce it.
I'm going to go
I'm going to start with Spencer here.
Yes.
Because
you think he's hurt more than he is.
I watched that one start last year where
Yep.
he was throwing 97 in the first inning.
Correct.
2 innings later, his fastball was at 85. And
that was
John
crazy.
Kruk picked it up on the broadcast because he was shaking his arm out. And Kruk, he said, I don't know if he just did something on that last pitch or if this is something he always does, shaking his arm out. Well, it wasn't something he always does. And the Phillies would not acknowledge that he was hurt. So going into spring training this year, don't expect a lot from Spencer, because if he's got a partially torn labrum or a partially torn rotator cuff or a partially torn bicep tendon, which are all up there in the shoulder, you're not getting much out of this guy.
Well, that's enough about our Phillies. So we're going to go to the 9 for 99. We'll probably
my God, we're going to have to speed this up 9 minutes.
We're going to be – oh, no, we're taking our time because there's a lot of good questions here that you got to answer. So we may have to go over a little today.
Yeah, you need to start taking down the names of these people.
I do. Do you know how early I get up to do this? Do you have any? I got up 8 o'clock today.
I would say I got up at 8
You're
o'clock.
up. You text me at 4 in the morning,
yeah.
5 in the morning, 3 in the
morning.
morning.
I don't sleep.
I don't either. All right, here we go. Mitch Williams, number 1. Is Tom Brady the greatest of all time? And, Mitch, 2-part question. Can he win another Super Bowl?
I think the answer to both of those questions is a frog's ass watertight.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. And, yes, it would not, honest to God.
Do you think he will in the next 2 years? Because I see.
Yes, I think he's going to win another Super Bowl.
You really think he's going to win another Super Bowl?
If they keep putting the pieces around him,
right,
and their defense stays like that,
yep,
he could win 2 more.
Mitch, number 2, where will Carson Wentz end up next year?
North Dakota.
You really think he's done?
I honestly believe in my heart, him saying he has no interest in being a backup,
yeah,
that tells me it's a guy that he expects everything to be handed to him. He's getting a $10 million signing bonus this month.
Oh, Mitch.
So I honestly believe if he goes somewhere this year and he's the backup, he will take whatever money he's got.
What's it, $58 million?
And retire.
Oh, God.
He'll go hunt. He can say, I walked away from the game on my own terms. Yeah, under your own terms, under a contract that's going to pay him $59 million. So
is he as big as bust? Is he as big of a bust as Ryan Leaf would be? Will he go down? Do you think this guy? I know he don't care and he wants to hunt. Do you think he's going to allow himself to go down as one of the top 5 biggest busts in the NFL history?
He's already allowed himself to become the laughingstock of Philadelphia for not speaking and not being a man and stepping up and talking about this situation. Whether or not he's happy about it, unhappy about it, this way, he looks like a 5-year-old pouting. And that's how it comes across.
Taking my ball and going home.
Yeah.
Number 3, Mitch, can you believe the Phillies signed Real Muto and Gregorius? Number 1. And number 2, did COVID have a lot to do with us getting these 2 guys?
I don't think COVID helped us get them.
You don't think?
Well,
if
I think back on it, no.
I think absolutely.
I think there would have been a bigger market for JT.
Absolutely.
But you had the guy.
And money, Mitch. These people lost money. They're firing the peanut vendors.
Right, but you had the guy in New York, Cohen, with $14 billion looking to spend it. That's a perfect
story. And he did make some big
signs. They needed a catcher. And they didn't offer JT more than the Phillies did. And it's strange to say this because I met John Middleton and his wife, very nice people. But when you get to the point where you're climbing a tree to tell us a lie, when you could tell us the truth standing on the ground,
right?
None of this was going to happen. You can attest to this. After his press conference I would have been surprised if they signed anybody. And then we find out about the 80 layoffs within the organization.
Yeah.
They're firing scouts. They're firing front office people. Matt Klentak got fired as a GM, but he's still working for them. And that's the position that Middleton and his partners have been put in. You got to remove him as GM, but you can't afford to hire another person to do a different job that Klentak's capable of doing. So that's what they're doing. They're keeping people around to fill roles that they wouldn't normally fill,
right?
But they got to pay them for the next 2 or 3 years, so they're going to get whatever they can out of them. But Middleton telling us that the landscape of baseball and everything had changed, that to me was a white flag. I'm surrendering.
Right.
And then he turns around and does this. I told all these Phillies fans.
Do you think Harper, somebody, do you think, what do you think, that something happened to this
guy?
guy?
I think Harper, behind closed doors, may have had a lot to do with this because he may have come out, and this is all speculation. I have no proof of this whatsoever.
I want out.
He may have gone to him and said, if you don't make a realistic try for JT and Didi, I'm demanding a trade.
Yeah, and I'll make your life miserable.
Yeah.
Here we go. Number 4, Mitch. Do you think the Phillies will be competitive, number 1, and will they compete for a playoff berth now that they've signed who they've signed?
In my opinion, last year, in a 60-game schedule, we saw the numbers this offense was capable of putting up. Number 1, we saw the number of runs they're capable of putting up in the first inning.
Yeah.
And whether or not people want to recognize this or not, a team that scores in the first inning, you have no idea what that does for your pitching staff.
Sure.
Your pitching staff, if you can throw up a crooked number in the first inning, your starting pitchers automatically feel like world beaters. So, yes, this lineup, as long as Kingery ain't in this lineup to slow it down when there's a rally going on, I think this team has a chance to do really well.
And I'm going to say something that another I won't mention his name, but another guy associated with the Phillies said to us, like you always said, these relievers actually looked scared to go out there late. And this is a guy directly with the Phillies. Said the same thing you said.
Well, it's not easy, not hard to see.
You see him on TV.
I hope their bullpen coach.
Yes.
I don't even know who it is.
I don't either.
But I hope their bullpen coach is a former. I know Jim Gott was down there last year.
Okay.
Why these relievers did not take on Jim Gott's personality, I will never know. Because
put Goose Gossage out there.
I
He'll
know how they went about it. Yeah. I know how Gott went about his business.
Right.
If I had the opportunity to coach, be a bullpen coach at the major league level, that would be the thing I would teach the most, is just how do you prepare to go into a game. And these guys, the only reason to be scared walking onto a athletic field,
if somebody's waiting for you with a gun,
if you're unprepared.
Of
course you're going to be scared. If you're unprepared, you're going to be scared. I was never scared because I knew every hitter on every team, and the only thing I had to know about them was their nitro zone. The one zone, as a pitcher, you do not want to miss in because he's going to make you pay.
Right.
I spent my whole career learning every hitter's nitro zone. So I was prepared. Physically, I was prepared. Mentally, I was prepared. I don't think there's a way in the world these guys aren't physically prepared, other than I don't believe they throw enough.
But
so it has to be mental.
Didn't your persona as the Wild thing lead people to believe that you didn't know where the ball was going?
That's exactly what it led him to believe. And I did everything I could do to fester it as big as it would grow.
Right.
For the simple fact, if a hitter is up there thinking about living through the at-bat rather than hitting, you got half the battle won. If a hitter walks to the plate and all he has to do is think about see the ball, hit the ball, you're in trouble as a pitcher.
Okay. Here's a great one, and this will probably be a real quick answer. Number 5, will Carson Wentz ever be an all-pro quarterback again?
Never.
Honest to God.
I honestly, I think mentally he's too far gone. Physically, does he have the tools? Everything that we've seen since the knee injury against the Rams in 17,
Right.
he hasn't even been close to the same guy. Not even close. I mean, he's a below 500 starting quarterback.
Yes, he is.
He's, what is he? Well, since then.
Oh, my God.
Oh, since his injury under Peterson, Wentz was 36-35. All of the backup quarterbacks under Peterson, 11-2. So it became really apparent and evident to me that Carson was uncoachable. And you could see it because these other guys are doing things.
If he doesn't get hurt, are we talking about an all-pro quarterback still in Philly?
Oh, no.
Really?
If he doesn't get hurt.
If he doesn't get hurt.
The first time?
Yeah.
Yes.
When he dove in the end zone.
Yeah. I still, to this day, I look at that play, him diving in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how he tore his ACL diving in.
Because they
had to have twisted him from two different directions.
His legs when he was airborne. Number 6, will the Phillies go out now that they sign their 2 big free agents and sign a top-tier starting pitcher? As we see now, they signed 2 shitty ones, but do they go out? Are they done, Mitch? Are they done?
You know what? I look at Dave Dombrowski and him looking at this lineup now, and this lineup is essentially back together from last year.
Sure.
He knows he's got a lineup,
and
especially if Reese doesn't get off to the slow start he got off to last year, you're talking about a lineup that's going to throw up a bunch of runs. So what is Dombrowski going to do? I think they have to make one more splash in the rotation. If you can get 4 dependable starters, you can work around the 5th guy.
Yeah.
But then you have to go to work on your bullpen. I think he has to sign a closer and build the bullpen from the back forward.
So don't you you're going to have 2 relievers when the 2 guys you just signed, essentially, if they beat out Howard and Velasquez.
You want me to tell you something?
You always said you wanted Vinny as a closer.
I was just going to say something. You want me to tell you something? If I had a week with Vince Velasquez to talk to him about pitching out of the bullpen, because mostly what it is with starters, it's an ego thing.
Sure.
They want to be a starter.
Of course.
Everybody wants to be a starter. Well, when I came up in the minor leagues, I didn't realize at the time that I was only going to be able to pitch once every 5 days. I was way too hyperactive for that to work. And I would love to have an hour with Vinny just to go down. Number 1, talk to him about his mechanics. And number 2, talk to him just about how much fucking fun it can be coming out of the bullpen.
Sure.
You want the nickname Vinny
Velo.
Vinny Velo?
Yeah.
Here's your opportunity. They're going to give you an opportunity to make the starting rotation or an opportunity to be a setup guy or the closer. I would push him so far and so hard to that setup guy or closer role. Number 1, it will extend his career by 5 years easily. It'll take a lot of his thinking out of it. You're only facing guys once. So, yeah, you can go out there and pump your fastball. If you got a decent slider, which he does, he can become a 2-pitch pitcher and dominate. I just hope he doesn't get caught up in that starter ego thing.
So why don't these guys let you come in? Jesus
No.
Christ.
When you have the nickname Wild thing.
Yeah, well,
and
goes against you, I guess.
I haven't been real. I've been honest about my opinions about what Middleton did last year.
Sure.
And I love the manager they've got. The chance of me ever being a coach here in Philly is 0. Why? I don't know, because I will stack my knowledge of the mechanics of the position and the mentality of the position up against anyone. So
go to college and be a college pitching coach.
You want to know what that lawsuit that I had to file against MLB did for me?
Yeah.
I applied for over 50 college coaching positions. I couldn't get an interview because that's the kind of reach Major League Baseball has.
Shoo, mama. All right, last three. Number 7. This is a curveball for you. Do the Sixers rely on Joel Embiid too much, and will they trade Simmons before the trade deadline?
I think they're starting to rely on Embiid the way they should have been all along. He's player of the month. How many times has he been player of the month in his career?
I don't know.
I don't know that either.
I know.
I know it didn't happen at all last year.
The other night they relied on him heavy. He had 31 points in the first half. So that's when Simmons was out. But the other the other team had 3 of their top scorers out, and we still lost. So
well, I think they need to go get someone for Simmons.
So you're done. So you're not totally dead on Simmons yet.
Oh, I've been dead on Simmons.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a bad guy for that locker room.
Okay.
And I just think he's a bad guy for the team.
And he's been stung by the Kardashian crew.
Oh, God.
Number 8. Here you go, Mitch. Nice and fast. When will Carson Wentz be traded?
I'm thinking today.
I'm agreeing with you. It's got to get over soon because they're killing him.
We waited to call that Peterson was being fired.
Yeah, we did. We had it. We had it 4 hours before he got fired.
We should come on here right now and make the announcement that Wentz has been traded.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be to the Colts.
Oh, man.
Unless it's a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
And they work some magic.
That's been mentioned. Lastly, number 9, Mitch Williams. Now, what is your over-under for wins now that the Phillies re-signed Gregorius Realmuto, and how important was it to sign Gregorius, a name that gets overlooked, but we always said they needed him.
Well,
so now what's your over-under now that because you were pretty low?
I said 60, I believe, or 55.
69?
Yeah, I didn't think I thought they'd lose 100 games.
Yes, you did. That's what you said. 100.
Yeah.
They were going to lose 100 games.
I thought they would lose 100 games.
Now,
if you don't have Didi, you don't have JT.
Well, now we got him. We got him.
You would have been eliminating Harper.
Oh, yeah, he goes in the tank. I think he has an MVP year this year. This is his 3rd year now. Last year was a wash. This guy's going to go out. I say he hits 40 home runs, but that's not the question. What is your over?
I'm going to give you that. I'll get you that. I'm giving my reason.
It's 10 after 11.
I don't
12.
care.
I don't either. But
now you made me lose my train of thought. You dick.
Over under wins.
Okay, I'll get to that.
All right. What do you want to get to first?
Gregorius. The fact they signed JT and Didi.
Yes.
Like I said, they also added Harper's bat back into the lineup because
absolutely
there would have been no one other than Bohm. You want to talk about struggle? Alec Bohm would have struggled unless he'd have been willing.
Sure.
Unless he'd have been willing. You know, I look at it. He would have been the only choice to hit behind Harper.
Yeah, but Mitch, besides all that,
90.
You said it earlier. Don't you lose. All right, no, for wins 90. But don't you lose Harper again, like you said. Fuck it. I want to be traded.
Okay, even if that didn't happen.
Okay.
Who are you going to hit behind it? Bohm would be the only guy that would benefit.
Well, you got Reese, too. You got Reese.
Reese is going to hit first or second because of his walk totals.
Right.
You'd like for him to hit down at 4 or 5, and Girardi may end up doing that.
Behind him.
Segura, for me.
You would have had Reese. You would have had Bohm. You would have had Harper.
You know what the lineup would be for me right now?
Right. Oh, with these guys or
with
without?
these guys.
Okay.
If the center fielder, we don't know who it's going to be.
Don't we have
you got the little fast guy.
We don't have the guy from Pittsburgh back? The center fielder.
Starling Marte?
No.
McCutcheon.
Oh, McCutcheon?
He's back, right?
He's not a center fielder. He's a left fielder. He didn't
play center last year a few games? Am
I
losing my mind?
You're losing your mind.
Oh, all right.
He's a left fielder. It's the other little guy.
Oh, I forget his name. I know who you're talking about.
To try and hit home runs, every little left-hander.
Yeah, I know who.
And then we have the other kid that play. Hainsworth or God, my memory is so bad.
Me too. I'm shot. Who'd you have in the outfield? McCutcheon? You had
Bryce.
Kingery? Bryce?
The fast really fast center fielder we had.
You don't remember?
Help me out back there, Tate.
Roman Quinn.
That's
Roman
it,
Quinn.
Roman Quinn.
And then the other guy, Haynes.
Not
Hazley.
Hazley, the lefty. They got rid of him, didn't
Adam
they?
Hazley.
They got rid of Hazley.
Rid of Hazley?
I definitely think so.
Well,
Hey, Siri, was Adam Hazley traded?
they need to find a center fielder. Whoever the center fielder is.
No, he's still with the Phillies.
Okay.
He's still with the center fielder.
McCutcheon's going to lead off. Didi, I don't like his bat in the 2-hole just because I think he can do more damage
I
further
thought you
down
said
the
you were
order.
going to put Reese there.
Reese will hit in the 2-hole.
Okay.
Bryce will hit third.
Wow.
Then you start getting in.
Real Muto.
JT will hit fourth.
Didi fifth.
Didi fifth. Bohm sixth.
Holy shit.
Segura seventh.
Oh, my God. Who cares about 8 and 9, but still.
And then you got
That's
second.
solid.
Who's it?
You're gonna have Segura at second.
So 7, 8. We got the 9 pitchers hitting in the 9th hole.
Right.
Who's our 8-hole hitter?
It would be.
It would be Quinn or Hazel.
Yeah, Quinn or
the
Hazel.
center field. I don't think they're gonna. They may end up staying with that
You think they're gonna hit Bohm sixth?
with the lineup they have.
Holy
It would make
shit.
sense.
And you could actually go. Let's think. Can they go lefty, righty, lefty, right? They're gonna go. So lead off is
Right-handed.
Is righty. 2 is lefty.
2 is
Or
righty.
2 is righty.
3 is lefty.
4 is lefty.
4 is righty.
4 is righty. 5 is righty.
5 is lefty.
A lefty, righty. So
Lefty, righty,
So
righty.
that's a nice.
And then a lefty and a switch.
So that's a nice level.
You're talking about a batting order that Girardi,
right.
if you got a center fielder, if you find an everyday center fielder, Girardi just became an American League manager. American League manager's job is come in, write your lineup down, wait for your starting pitcher to get tired. That's their job.
So you got 90 wins
Yeah, I'd say 90 wins
right now,
because
and they're in the playoffs.
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
No shit.
And this is coming from a guy that back in November,
Yeah.
I had this team finishing 5th in the NL East. That's how bad it looked. And my entire opinion was based on a press conference.
Correct.
What we were told by the owner about
Correct.
how they were going to handle their finances.
Correct.
And then we start seeing 80 layoffs. And you go, this guy wasn't kidding.
And Real Muto wasn't signed yet,
Yeah.
and they weren't even talking about Didi. I mean, where did Didi come from? I mean, I got to tell you, I'm impressed with that. I'm wondering, like I said, did Harper's agent call and say, yo, this isn't what we signed up for, guys?
Anybody that thinks
Yeah.
that Bryce didn't have a thing to say when
He's
nothing
the
was
franchise.
happening,
14 million, Mitch.
trust me, Bryce had something to say.
Bet your ass.
And Middleton, bless his heart, he listened.
And
Because
we'll
this
end
is
on
what
that note.
this is what he had to do in order to get these fans back in the stadium.
Oh, yeah. He guaranteed
I'm
that.
changing my entire attitude going into baseball this year because I'm actually excited.
Me too. I'm going to go see Bo and Chuck down in spring training. I'm going.
Oh, you're going on spring training?
I'm going to try.
Well,
At least I got to get my boys a picture with a
starting in March,
Yes.
we are going to have a podcast
Yes.
with me, yourself, Raymond,
Yes.
Charlie Manuel,
Oh, yeah.
Larry Boa,
Who?
and
Mike Schmidt.
Chuck
No, I'm
Grimley from Grimley Financial.
Grimley, he's the
We're
numbers
gonna-
guy.
We will be doing the podcast once a week.
Yep.
We're not sure where it's going to be held,
At
whether
the
it's going to
beach.
be here in the Wildfire Studios or on location somewhere.
At a casino, hopefully.
Yes, we're looking for a casino out there.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, this show that you and I are fixing to do with these guys will be the most informative because it's going to be every week during the baseball season. It'll be the most informative baseball show you will ever listen to. And that's not me saying I'm smart, but I know what Charlie Manuel and Larry Boa bring to a baseball conversation.
And if they can't give us the inside scoop, Mitch, nobody can.
That's exactly right.
Because they're going to be there.
That's going to do it for this edition of Unleashed. We will be back next Monday.
Did you
Y'all
like my
have a
hat,
great
by the
week.
way?
Huh? Love your hat.
It's my Rocky Balboa hat.